28 quid for a controller with Hall effect sticks, trigger locks, and a 1000 Hz polling rate. That shouldn't add up, so what's the catch? This is the EasySMX X05 Pro, and after using it as my main PC controller, here's whether it's actually as good as the spec sheet makes it look. So a quick disclosure before we do get into this video, EasySMX did send me the X05 Pro for review. However, this doesn't change anything that you're about to hear, and all of the opinions that I mention here are my own. So my honest first reaction to picking this product up was honestly surprise at the weight of it. Usually my sort of worry with third-party controllers is that they always feel like that sort of hollow, cheap, plastic, weird feeling feel to it. And it honestly doesn't feel like that. It's got proper heft to it. Sort of closer to an official Xbox or PlayStation pad than anything I expected at this price point. Weeks on, that's also held up. It still feels premium in the hand. The rubber on the back is genuinely grippy rather than a token gesture, and nothing about it has started to feel cheap with use over time. I've got the white one here, as you can see. There is also a black one and an Aurora Purple limited edition, if you want something with a little bit more personality. So the whole layout of this controller is just essentially Xbox. It's asymmetrical sticks that you can see right there, A, B, X, Y, exactly where you'd expect it. So if you're coming from an Xbox pad, there's no learning curve at all. I'm a PlayStation guy normally, but I have played on Xbox controllers, and honestly, I adjusted to it really, really quickly. Now, since having this controller, there's been a few things that I've really come to like and properly appreciate about it, and one of those things is the fact that there's no software. There's literally none. Every bit of customization, like remapping the M1 and M2 buttons on the back, the turbo mode, the macros, RGB control, vibration levels, stick dead zone, and even recalibrating the sticks themselves, is done with button combinations on the actual controller itself, which honestly, in this day and age, for me, that's a genuine plus. Every single device and product that you buy these days seem to come with an app, so you don't have that to install, there's no background processes running on your PC, there's nothing that's going to break the controller, of course, in an update, so it also means that you can change things mid-game without tabbing out into your settings, which is especially useful if you only have one monitor. I suppose the flip side then of that, and sort of to be fair overall, you will want to keep that manual that comes with the product in the box. There's of course then no app to remind you what those button combinations are. So if you lose that manual, then you're of course going to be searching online for it, and some people will find that annoying, which I can definitely understand as well. Another great feature of this controller are the trigger locks, so the trigger stopper mechanism on the back, which is another thing that of course is handled within the controller itself. It's got physical switches on the back that shorten that trigger travel. If you flick them, they go from full travel to a much shorter throw, which is of course the setup that you'd probably want for those shooter games where those extra few milliseconds are going to properly matter. Being able to flip that physically mid-game without going near any software, for me, I found it genuinely useful. Worth being clear on what it is though, it's just shortened travel distance. It's not a proper mechanical hair trigger with a click. It does the same job, but it's just not the same thing. It just stops it from going as low. My main criticism is that instead of back paddles on this controller, you get two extra buttons up on the shoulders, the M1 and M2 buttons. They're easy to reach, easy to map, and I've had no accidental presses overall, they just work great. But I would have preferred proper paddles sort of on the bottom of the controller. Of course, some claw grip players will probably genuinely prefer the shoulder placement of those M1 and M2 buttons, so not everyone will think the same, but for me, paddles would have been the better call. They're nice to have, these M1 and M2 buttons, but just not what I would have chosen for this controller. Now, of course, the RGB lighting on this controller. There are lighting zones around the D-pad and at the top, and of course, that does genuinely look really nice, but I'll be honest, I don't think it's actually necessary. When you're gaming, you're looking at the screen. You're not looking down at a controller or indeed your hands whilst you're gaming. So I'd honestly take battery life over lights because I'm just never looking at those lights. And the good news is, and the useful bit, is that you can actually turn that RGB lighting off using some M button combinations. It seems like you get around 12 to 15 hours from the 1000 milliamp hour battery, and turning the lighting off meaningfully extends that, so that's what I've been running when using it. So if you're anything like me and the lights aren't really doing anything for you, you're not stuck with them, so switch them off and you get some more playtime, which for me is a definite bonus. So this is actually the section of the video that I really want you to hear before you go ahead and look into buying a controller like this, because it is easy to miss. You've got 3 connection modes on the controller. You've got wired USB-C with the included cable. You've got the 2.4 GHz dongle and Bluetooth, which you can switch between on the toggle on the back. And honestly, I've had absolutely no trouble with any of them connecting to any of my devices. If you care about competitive responsiveness, then you should probably go wired. But if you like that sort of freedom of movement, then maybe you should go for wireless. Multiple people who have properly latency tested this controller have found that the stick latency is noticeably worse over the dongle and the Bluetooth than it is wired, which is definitely to be expected with the technology. Bluetooth also drops the polling rate right down from 1000 Hz wired to somewhere in the 125 to 250 Hz range. So for me, playing Rocket League on PC, that's the difference between this is fine and this is actually good. So for me, wired is how I use the controller, and for casual play or platformers on the Switch, or maybe using it on mobile, you won't notice the decreased polling rate or the lower Hertz on your devices. Now onto what it doesn't do, and for me, there's only 2 real omissions from this controller. Firstly, there's no gyro at all, which won't matter for PC, and it hasn't mattered to me, but it is a real gap if you do play motion control games on your Switch. And the major big one is that it doesn't work on PlayStation or Xbox, even though it looks like an Xbox controller. It's PC, Switch, iOS, and Android only. So if you need a console controller, this simply isn't the one. And no amount of good value or good weight or nice lighting will ever change that. You need to go for the official controllers or ones that work with your console. Now, before we do get to my verdict on this controller, my overall opinion on whether you should buy it, there is a link down there in the description to my Amazon affiliate link for the EasySMX X05 Pro. If you'd like to pick something like this up or anything on Amazon, it does help support the channel. So we really do appreciate everyone that's purchasing their products through there. So if you'd like to check that out, it is down there in the description. And thank you so much for supporting the channel. So my overall opinion, my overall verdict on this controller, is there a catch at just £28? And sort of, but not where you'd expect. The build quality is absolutely fantastic, it's there. The Hall effect sticks mean no drift. The on-controller customization I really like and I think is great, and the trigger locks and all those extra features work really well. The real catch is compatibility. So if you need something for PS5 or Xbox, then you should spend slightly more and get a controller that's made for it. That's just the straight, honest answer. But if you're playing on PC, Switch, mobile, then this is honestly a no-brainer at this price point. It's a really strong budget option, and the fact that it feels good in the hand for under 30 quid is the bit that still surprises me. If this review helped you out, then of course make sure to leave a like rating on this video. Make sure to check out the EasySMX X05 Pro controller via the affiliate link, as I mentioned, down there in the description. Of course, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on any of our future content. Check out the unboxing for this product on the screen right now. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.